one of the things the government is talking about is, in fact not just the UK government but governments the world over, is talking about finding a vaccine for coronavirus. Now, there's rather a little bit too much enthusiasm in this game, as far as I can tell, because vaccines take years and years to perfect and to test on the general public for safety, short and long term. And coronavirus is a virus that's in the family of viruses that cause the common cold, and they've never been able to create a virus for the common cold. So despite the endeavors of all these pharmaceutical companies that are accelerating their kind of research and their testing programs for a vaccine, despite all of that, we now know that coronavirus is estimated to kill between 0.02 and 0.05 of a population, and it's heavily skewed in the direction of people who are elderly and frail. I think the median age is about 76 or 78 or something like that. So it's very old people. Usually you've got something seriously wrong with them already, who are succumbing to coronavirus. Now, who are you going to vaccine? Why would you apply a vaccine to young people for a fairly common type of virus that our immune systems are designed for and can successfully resist and overcome? Why would you vaccinate young people? Well, you could say they run into elderly people, and that would be one of the reasons why you might consider doing it, because children see grandparents and parents and so on. But that's the same for flu, and we don't require a vaccine for flu. I mean, there's a flu jab that's optional for over 65s in this country every year, but we don't mass vaccinate the population. So the coronavirus kills very, very few people, usually elderly, in fact almost exclusively elderly, and young people don't get ill. So you wouldn't vaccinate very young people. You probably wouldn't vaccinate young adults, and you probably wouldn't vaccinate people who are below 60 and in good health. And yet we have governments, state governments in the United States. We've got state governments in Australia, and we have politicians talking about making a coronavirus vaccine mandatory. I think if they make a vaccine available and they make it optional, then really I think most of the population will probably shrug their shoulders and think, well, that's fair enough. That's fine. Let people decide for themselves. If they've got diabetes or they've got some other illness, let them have the vaccine if it has proven to actually help them resist this virus. But for the general population, no. And talk of having like a vaccination pass, so people can travel on airplanes or other forms of public transport, or get access to schools, universities and businesses only if they've had the vaccination, only if they've had the vaccine, is borderline totalitarian. And personally, I'm in, notwithstanding my recovery from the bike crash, I'm in good health, and I have absolutely no desire to take any vaccines. I'm not interested in the flu vaccine because I tend not to get respiratory diseases, because I think since I started cycling in earnest about 8 years ago, I tend not to get colds, or if I get colds, I get over them very, very quickly. So I don't see myself as vulnerable. Now, back in the spring, I might have done. There's no question about it, like many people. But right now, with my increased understanding of the virus and the illnesses that come from it, I have no desire to take a vaccine, and I don't want my children to take a vaccine either, because the chances of them succumbing to this illness is next to zero. So no vaccines in our family as far as I'm concerned, but we'll see.